But indiscriminate selling here today. Nvidia, the worst of the bunch, but everything else down in the entire halo, including Broadcom. Traders not even waiting for those earnings, but they are coming up. Joining us, Jamie Meyers, securities analyst at Laffer Tengler, covering the stocks. Jamie, great to have you. Pretty dark day here for the AI trade. What's up? Did we just take a week? Were people on vacation during Nvidia earnings or what?
Hey, Oliver. Yeah, it's a tough day for semiconductors in general, especially Nvidia leading the way down. We think this is just selling pressure coming off a quarter end. Nvidia last week, they delivered against the high expectations. We still see sequential data center growth through the end of the year. Hopper demand is strong. The Blackwell chip, they've fixed the casing on that, and they're going to release that, and they see several $1 billion worth of sales for the new Blackwell chip in Q4. So, I mean, the picture is still bright, and the enterprise wave of AI spending is coming to the tune of $50 billion a year per company. So, short-term pain. We think the long-term future is bright for NVIDIA.
You've got some good valuation analysis. Tell me how you're thinking about that for NVIDIA, because, there's a few ways to look at it. If you normalize it, to growth, it still looks like it's pretty reasonable. And of course, now we're pretty substantially off the highs of $140, so we got a little 40% off too. Well, more.
Yeah, exactly. And we're happy scooping up the NVIDIA crumbs. I mean, that's good business. We've looked at NVIDIA and the rest of the market in a number of different ways, and this is not a bubble in our opinion. These old economy companies are embracing AI to improve the margins, and like I said, $50 billion a year per company in CapEx spending. Tech still matters. And we see it broadening out, and we've been positioning for that for the rest of the year. And we really think if tech doesn't work, the market doesn't work, but we think tech is going to work.
One thing that I've been really thinking about is where the surprise comes from, because markets do, I feel, move mostly on surprise and rates of change. And when you look at the amount of buying, like the sheer scale, to your point, of all the hardware accumulation by the hyperscalers is incredible. But where does the surprise come from? Like, have they not built out to a point where they can kind of let some of the fruits of their labor come to fruition here, or is there just going to be like a nonstop, architectural build out? Like, shouldn't there be kind of a period here, maybe where things slow or at least plateau a bit?
Yeah, I mean, there could be a period of, digestion, as they call it, in the inventory, or a period of, when they're getting these things up and running.
Right.
But we really think this is just the beginning. You saw a competitor to NVIDIA, AMD, went out and bought ZT Systems. We see NVIDIA going more vertical as well. And Jensen Huang has said as much. They're into data center design. They're getting into networking. And they have a software business. It's a $2 billion runway. So, I mean, there might be periods of digestion, but the demand's insatiable. And I think you saw it over the weekend as well. OpenAI is intending to use its new funding round to acquire more compute, which just means more GPUs. Fair
enough. Okay, so that kind of answers part of it, the kind of marginal surprise buyer. What about internationally? Is there any major business that needs to have this hardware that doesn't have it by now, Jamie?
Well, certainly, I mean, internationally, export restrictions are hitting, countries like China, for example. They're not able to get the most advanced chips. But from what we've been seeing, they haven't really had a hard time working around those restrictions. So that they're still getting them, albeit in slower quantities. So, I mean, it does hurt NVIDIA's revenue. However, the demand domestically and from countries to which they can sell is just insatiable at the moment.
Thinking about some of the other plays here, you've called Broadcom the poor man's NVIDIA. Tell me about that and where that sits. We're holding the past week lows for Broadcom, but with earnings around the corner Wednesday or Thursday after the bell, I mean, this now becomes, I guess, a pretty hot subject this week.
Yeah, so, I mean, we're looking for a recovery in their non-AI revenue because they said it bottomed last quarter. But we still we expect revenue to accelerate from VMware toward a $4 billion run rate at the end of the year. And there's a reason that Hock Tan is one of the highest paid, if not the highest paid CEO out there. And that's his track record of M&A and making these things accretive well ahead of expectations. So we think the future's bright for them as well.
What do they need to deliver here? What kind of surprise can they put up at this point? I mean, obviously, we kind of think about the mobile side of the market, which we're led to believe has a big refresh cycle coming. That a big deal for Broadcom? Are they going to give us some insight into that? Or has the AI world diversified now their customer base enough to where it's not just a pure kind of mobile Apple connection?
Yeah, so the two big segments that it's gaining AI revenue, and I think they're getting about $11 billion in AI revenue right now. They're slated for about $14 billion toward the end of the year, and that's within ASICs and which are custom chips that they use to train AI and to inference on AI. And the other thing is networking. You need connections among all these systems. So we think those two segments are going to continue to grow. I think the run rate was about 40% last quarter. So we see that continuing. We could see upside surprise in those as well.
They sell to Dell, Apple, Alphabet. I mean, the whole gamut, basically. The Apple connection, though, for phones, how much of Broadcom's outlook hinges on a big refresh cycle? Is it a big deal for them, Jamie, or no?
We see it. We don't see it as that big of a deal. It certainly matters to them. However, they have so much going on with respect to demand for their ASIC chips, demand for their network connections, and we expect this quarter, in a couple of days, they're going to give us more information about their pipeline and perhaps more information on new customer adds, which may result in a raising guidance through the end of the year.
Okay. All right. Sounds like staying the course, bullish and optimistic. So nice. We'll see if anybody takes it to buy the dip here. Jamie, thank you very much.
Thanks, Oliver.
Appreciate that. Jamie Meyers, securities analyst at Laffer Tengler. All right. Let's talk.